Girl, he never gave me no damn earrings. He probably gave those to Jennifer.
Did Common really step out on Jennifer Hudson? Or did the internet just crown a new headline without evidence? The timeline's been buzzing, sly jokes, clipped quotes, and sources that never seem to show their homework. Tiffany Haddish's commentary poured gasoline on the conversation, but chatter isn't confirmation. Here's what we're doing right now, pulling apart what's documented from what's whispered, lining up the statements he's actually made, and weighing them against the claims fans keep recycling. If there's a real story here, it'll hold up under the light. If not, you'll see exactly how a rumor snowballed into a narrative. By the end, you'll know what's verified, what's contested, and why this saga keeps resurfacing. But that's only the surface, because the part everyone keeps missing is the pattern behind the noise. This didn't start with drama, it started with receipts. They worked together, the whispers grew, and by the time the cameras were rolling on her daytime couch, the two of them weren't dodging anything. He spoke about her with intent, not vague flattery, clear words about partnership, gratitude, and yes, the M word hanging in the air. If he ever married, she was the person. That's not rumor. That's on record, public sighting here, a joint moment there. The picture looked steady enough that fans started mapping out the next steps for them long before either of them did.
Jen still kicking it. That's part one. And part two is, do you ever see yourself married one day?
So as far as Jenny Jen,
I love Jenny.
Absolutely, we are together, and
But attention carries a price. Every soft smile becomes a clue. Every solo appearance becomes a theory. The internet loves a twist, and a tidy relationship doesn't trend. So a new narrative formed, louder than the facts and easier to share. And that's where the real tension begins. Not in what they said, but in what people wanted to hear next. But winning the spotlight can come with a hidden tab, and that bill shows up in the next chapter. Old breakups make new headlines. That's why Tiffany's name keeps circling this story. She and Common had a very public run, very public smiles, and a very public ending, followed by her own candid jokes and interviews that never left much to decode. When she cracks a line today, the internet treats it like a smoking gun. But a punchline isn't proof. Her comments shape the vibe, not the facts. They carry history, not confirmation. Still, history matters. She was the one who wanted things defined, who spoke about next steps, who seemed all in while he sounded more go with the flow. That mismatch became a template people now paste onto every update. If Tiffany teases, fans assume she knows something. If she stays quiet, they decide it's ominous. Either way, her shadow sits over the current storyline like a watermark, subtle but always visible. And there's the algorithm. The moment her name appears next to his, engagement jumps. Clips get clipped tighter, quotes get trimmed to the sharp parts.
And I just appreciate her as a partner, as a woman, as an artist, as a human being. She's a special individual.
By the time those snippets make the rounds, they read less like perspective and more like a verdict. But the leap from "she's still got feelings" to "he's definitely stepping out" is a leap all the same. So yes, her voice adds fuel. It adds color. It adds history you can't ignore. What it doesn't add, at least not yet, is a verified timeline that contradicts what's on record. That difference is everything. And that difference is exactly why the next part matters. Reputation versus receipts. A long dating resume becomes a storyline all by itself. Once people decide you're the guy who never settles, every smile reads like a stopgap and every compliment sounds like a stall. Past relationships get listed like exhibits. Headlines freeze a version of you in time. That label spreads faster than any correction, and soon the label starts explaining new events before the facts even arrive. But labels aren't evidence. The on-record moments don't read like a man hiding. They read like someone speaking plainly about partnership, gratitude, and growth. Public appearances, clear words, No vanish act in the middle of a news cycle. When you stack what's documented against what's assumed, the gap becomes obvious. Perception is loud, receipts are quiet. Here's the trap. Algorithms reward the familiar narrative. One vague post, one clipped quote, one out-of-context laugh, and the old storyline boots right back up. It feels true because it's repeated, not because it's proven. And once that loop starts, even neutral updates get pulled into the undertow, which sets up the next turn perfectly. The rumor spike, louder than ever, and built on the same old template. Here's where the volume jumps. Suddenly, there's a friend of a friend, a cropped screenshot, a grainy clip from 3 tables away.
Man, I'm just grateful for it. I thank God, and yes, we are good. Marriage is something that if I were to get married, then Jennifer is the person.
Oh, she the prototype?
She is but
Headlines say new woman, but the posts point back to each other, not to a primary source. No timestamp that proves overlap. No outlet with standards putting their name on it. Just loops. It feels convincing because it's everywhere, until you follow one link at a time and end up right back where you started. Let's be clear about the framing. This is online chatter, not verified reporting. Phrases like reports claim, rumors suggest, and it's been said are tells, not proof. Anonymous DMs, recycled thumbnails. A week without a joint photo gets treated like a smoking gun. Then a public sighting drops, and the narrative gets edited on the fly. That's not evidence changing, that's engagement chasing. So yes, the buzz is loud, it's catchy, it's built to spread. But until someone with receipts steps up, names, dates, context, the story sits in the unconfirmed column. And that's exactly why the next part matters. When the noise peaks, the verified pieces start to stand out. Because when rumors run hot, the facts either melt or they hold their shape in plain sight. The present tense tells a different story. In January 2024, he confirmed he was seeing someone on her couch. Everyone knew who he meant. That moment set the record, not the rumor. He didn't back away later. By December 2024, when the marriage talk popped up, he said it plainly. If he marries, it would be Jennifer. Not a coy tease. His words on the record. They kept showing up together. March 4th, 2025, courtside in New York, date night captured from every angle. The coverage was about the game, and them being there, nothing about a breakup. And the most recent receipts, this month, she called him such a light while talking about what keeps her grounded.
She's not only the prototype, she is the person.
Yeah.
But that being said, it's one of those things where I'm like always looking at my life and saying, okay, because that's a strong choice to make, And,
Absolutely. Not to be taken.
That same piece notes their musical link-up on his song A God There Is with Pete Rock, personal and professional alignment in one line. Stack those cards, public confirmation, on-record marriage remarks, visible outings, fresh praise, a track together. That's the paper trail. Not whispers, receipts. So if the verified pieces read steady, why does the other storyline keep catching fire? The answer isn't in their timeline, it's in how the narrative machine works next. Familiar patterns make easy headlines. Once an audience believes someone never settles, every solo sighting becomes proof, and every offhand joke reads like a confession. That's confirmation bias doing laps. Add parasocial thinking, people feel like they know the couple, and suddenly fans interpret silence as a signal and a busy week as a breakup. It feels true because it fits the old template, not because it's verified. Then there's the attention economy. Platforms reward heat over nuance. A clipped quote outruns a full interview. An ambiguous photo gets more reach than a clear timeline. Smaller pages echo each other, and the chorus sounds like consensus. By the time a steady, boring fact shows up, the viral version has already set the timeline on fire. Most viewers won't see the correction, they'll remember the first, spiciest take. Finally, history gets remixed. Past relationships become evidence. Ex-commentary becomes context, and neutral updates get reframed to keep the plot moving.
The other tea a little later. Yeah. Oh! What? Coming. You not ready? Get cut off, and you motherfuckers brought the tea.
The narrative machine doesn't need new facts, just new angles on old ones. That's why the story keeps rebooting even when the receipts haven't changed, which is exactly why the next part demands care. Jennifer's past raises the emotional stakes, and it calls for accuracy over assumptions. Her history invites empathy and demands accuracy. She's navigated real loss, real pressure, and a public breakup that came with filings, headlines, and a long custody process. That kind of past makes any new whisper feel heavier than it is. One vague post can look like a red flag when people remember the old storms. So the tone here matters. Treat jokes as jokes. Treat rumors as rumors. Keep compassion at the center. Don't turn yesterday's pain into today's proof. When a story includes legal claims or sensitive moments, the responsible move is to mark what's verified, name what's contested, and skip the graphic play-by-play. She isn't just a plot point, she's a person who's already carried more than most. Which is why the next part is the only test that counts. What's happening now, in plain view, and what milestones actually change the picture. Talk is cheap, milestones aren't. If anything real shifts, it won't start as a blurry screenshot. It'll show up as something concrete. A joint announcement, a ring that isn't just rumor bait, a move-in, a collab rollout with aligned promo, or a clear change in how they talk about each other on record. That's the signal. Everything else is background noise. Day to day, consistency matters more than a single viral moment. Steady appearances, mutual shoutouts that don't feel performative, projects that overlap on purpose, not by accident. On the flip side, a long stretch of silence, scrubbed mentions, or a sudden respect our privacy note from credible outlets carries more weight than 10 anonymous posts.
Join it. I'm not going to put nothing extra on it. If he want to marry me, he can give me an apartment building.
Oh, okay. That would be, you don't want a ring, you want an apartment complex.
I'd give me a duplex, an eightplex or something. You know, when the homegirls be like, where your ring? I thought you was engaged. Where your ring? Where your carrots? Carrots.
Those patterns tell the real story. So the stakes right now are simple. Either the public receipts keep lining up, or a verifiable milestone breaks the pattern. Until one of those happens, the headline is speculation wearing a loud outfit, which brings it home. When you stack narratives against receipts, which one survives the light? Stack the narratives against the receipts and the shape of the story is clear. A loud rumor loop, an ex whose jokes keep the pot boiling, and a couple whose on-record moments don't match the scandal headlines. Reputation made the whispers sticky, algorithms made them loud. But when you strip out the echo, what's left are the simple tells that matter. How they speak about each other, where they show up, and the milestones that either appear or don't. So the real question isn't whether the internet can invent a twist, it's whether the facts ever catch up to it. If something changes, it'll be obvious and verifiable. If not, then this saga is mostly about how stories travel faster than truth, and how easy it is to read a pattern where there's only noise. In the end, it comes down to what we reward, heat or clarity. Because the next headline will say a lot about them, but it'll say even more about us.